Welcome back everybody. I thought I'll give you a little bit of an update on how the engine's been running in the car, and I've got another little job to do, which is fitting some of these. These are some LED replacement bulbs for the dash lighting. I'm only going to do the dash illumination, not the warning lights, because particularly the battery light, replacing that with an LED can cause problems. So to start with, I'll go through how the engine's been going and a couple of the little bits and pieces, and then we'll get stuck in with this. So the first thing you might notice behind me is the bonnet. I've fitted my other bonnet and got it all painted. I did say in my last video I was going to video it, but I didn't. I just had a spare Sunday morning. It was nice and sunny, good weather, so I got it fitted and I've cut it and polished it. It's not the best, but I'm pretty pleased with it. It certainly looks a lot better than the old white bonnet. I think it really changes the look of the car. I've had quite a few compliments on the socials, so that's quite good. So next we'll get onto the engine. I'll just pull the bonnet off. So since I've done the cylinder head, I've covered about 200 miles on the engine now, and it's running really well. It seems to be performing well on fuel thanks to the new carburetor there, and it's just running really well. I've done a little bit of playing around with the timing. I've got it set at 8 degrees at the moment. I don't know the total timing because I haven't got a timing light that you can measure that with, but set at 8 degrees it's running under load, low revs, in a high gear. There's no pinking, nothing, so it's running really quite nicely. Right, now we're in the car. I've got the camera set up on the tripod on the seat. See how well this works. So we've got to take this out. I don't know if the more eagle-eyed of you will notice that I've got my oil pressure gauge there and coolant temperature there, which is I think the wrong way round, so I've got to swap those over. So I'm going to take this whole cluster out and then take that over to the bench, swap the lamps over, and then we can bring it back and plug it in. Just as a demonstration, that's the current illumination, which is pretty dim. I don't even know if you'll have seen a difference there. So I'm going to get started now. In here there's 6 positions for screws, one either side underneath and one either side at the top. I only have those 2 and those 2 in at the moment. I just couldn't get some of them right. So what I've done with this is this holes in the bottom are slotted, so I'll just back those screws out, take the one out the top, and then we can pull that forward, disconnect the oil pressure and speedo and wiring harness, and we can take it out and put it on the bench. These screws at the bottom you can access by putting your screwdriver up underneath. I'm just going to grab a spanner for the oil pressure gauge, but I can undo the electrical connection. Just going to grab a spanner for the oil pressure gauge and something to put the end of the pipe in. Just in case any oil comes out, and I've saved a little fibre washer. I'll just pop on there ready for refitting, and that's removed. Okay, so this is the assembly out of the car. There's something a little bit different about this that I'd forgotten about previously. For my oil and coolant pressure gauges, these had been added in. The car originally wouldn't have had the oil pressure and the coolant temperature gauge. It would have only had a speedo just in the middle in a single round housing. So somebody had added those in, and the wiring wasn't very good. It was, and the ball holders were broken and things like that. So what I ended up doing is buying these cheap little push-in 5-watt capless bulb holders, and they just put nicely in the hole there. They were just a cheap easy fix, soldered into the illumination wiring. So I can't fit these into those, so I'm going to have to order some 5-watt capless LEDs for those, but I can fit them into the other spots. Now, just having a look on the front, the ignition light is that one there, which is here, so we don't want to change that one for an LED because that'll cause the alternator not to charge. So the rest I'm going to swap LEDs in, and then we'll plug it into the car and see if you can see a difference. Now you should be able to just unscrew these with your fingers, but they're pretty well in there, so I'll just pop the glass with a pair of pointy pliers, needle nose pliers, and unscrewed it. Just got bits of glass everywhere now, so once I finish this job I shall have to give the bench a thorough clean. There, that's those installed, so I can't change those ones, and I'm not going to change the indicator one either. We'll go and connect this back up in the car, see if we can see a difference. We've got the 2 illumination and the high beam indication and the oil pressure light, so we'll see what they look like in the car. Bit of an odd angle again, but we'll just I'll get this plugged in. I can do it carefully without spilling oil from the oil pressure pipe. Right, so we flick on the lights. Look at that. That lights up so much better, doesn't it? So much better. Can't wait to change this one for LED. Wow, that's such a difference. Now I've just got to go and grab the keys from the house so we can have a look at the others, see how they work. Right, oops, not the camera. So I nipped back in the house to get the keys for the car, so now we can have a look at the high beam and the, what was the other one, oil pressure. So turn the ignition on, nice and bright, put the lights on, and the high beam, look at that, that's fantastic, much brighter. I'm not changed, like I said before, I'm not changing the ignition light because that's that's required to be at the right resistance for the charging circuit to work. I could, if I guess, take that lamp out, measure the resistance across it, and then one of the LEDs would have to fit with a resistor across the contacts to replicate the same thing. I'm sure that'd work, but I can't be bothered to do that at the moment. So for now I'm going to leave it all in bits and get some of the LED 5-watt capless for the 2 gauges at the side there, and then we'll be good to go. So I'll keep it in this video, so I'll see you again shortly. Welcome back. It's tomorrow now. Back in the car. Got some of these LEDs to replace the ones in there, so I'm going to stick them in now, and just to finish off we'll have a look how they look. Right, so that's all connected back up. Let me just get that in a position where we can see all the gauges. I think we can just about see them there. If I just flick on the lights, you see those? All lit up nicely with LEDs now. Tell you what I'm going to do, I'm going to go and turn the garage lights off and the interior light off, and we can see how bright they are in lower light. Difficult to see on the camera, but I think that's certainly an upgrade on where we were previously with those lights. They were quite difficult to see at night, the illumination, and that makes things a lot better. It's a lot better. So I think that about wraps up this little video. Just a short one, show you what's been going on with the car, and a nice little upgrade. I think you'll have to agree it's quite a nice thing to do. Modernises the look of the gauges a little bit and makes them visible at night. So if you liked it, let me know. Leave a comment down below, or press the like button. See you again next time.